Q2FY22 Earnings Conference Call of Tata Coffee Limited, hosted by ICICI Securities. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touch-tone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Aniruddha Joshi from ICICI Securities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Of ICICI Securities, we welcome you all to Q2 FY22 results conference call of Tata Coffee Limited. We have with us senior management represented by Mr. Chacko Thomas, Managing Director and CEO, and Mr. K. Venkatramanan, Executive Director, Finance and CFO. Now I hand over the call to the management for their initial comments on the quarterly performance. Thanks, and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Aniruddha, and good morning, everyone. This is Chacko Thomas, and I hope that everyone is safe and doing well. Thank you for joining today. Let me start by giving you a brief outline of the overall performance of the company in quarter two. Let me start by saying that the second quarter, despite multiple challenges which were escalated basically on account of irregularities that we face in the supply chain, that is, non-availability of shipping containers, surge in input costs like coal, tin, etc. We were able to deliver a good financial performance both on a standalone and a consolidated basis. On standalone, the revenue from operations for quarter two stands at 190 crores, which is ahead of the same quarter last year. And the standalone PAT of 18.2 crores is slightly lower than quarter two of previous year, but that is on account of timing difference of the dividend that we received from 8 o'clock, which came in the previous quarter in the last year. Otherwise, very happy to report that the business has actually performed much better than the same quarter of last year. Turning to now the instant coffee, both in India and Vietnam. Let me start with the overall highlights. Both India and Vietnam have delivered strong sales performance across all key markets, despite these logistics issues which I spoke about in the beginning. Both these plants in India are running at peak capacities, and they are driving exceptional cost optimization projects to counter any of the external costs which are beyond our control. Tata Coffee Vietnam also operated at near peak utilization and has registered extremely good sales on the back of good growth in volumes and share of our premium and niche products. However, challenges in quarter two remain, and the following quarters remain, and our efforts towards further enriching these orders for the second half and strengthening the NPD portfolio, I'm sure will offset the impact of these challenges. Moving on to the plantations and both coffee and tea. Coffee plantations thus far have experienced fairly favorable weather conditions where we have received adequate rainfall, and the harvest is to soon commence in this quarter. We are expecting a good enough coffee and pepper harvest crop for the season, and as you're all aware, prices at the moment seem to be positive. And while we are hopeful that the impact of the logistics logjam, as I mentioned in the past, would be offset by the higher prices and improving demand that we see worldwide. However, tea performance was slightly impacted on account of the weather that we actually experienced in the tea growing regions. We are invested in improving efficiencies, and we hope that consequently the performance in the coming quarters will also reflect the same. Moving on to the consolidated results, as you're aware, the consolidated total income has moved up from 554 crores to 554 crores from 546 crores in the previous quarter, and the consolidated results in quarter two have been higher than the same quarter last year, attributable to improved operating performance of the Indian instant coffee business and, of course, 8 o'clock. To conclude, while the overall situation with logistics and pricing pressures on transport, and also with demand still picking up in the coming few quarters, we are expecting things to be a bit challenging. But I would like to mention that our efforts on focusing on costs, innovation, increasing the share of differentiated products, we are very confident that we will continue to improve on our performance in the coming quarters. I will now hand over to Venkat, who will take you through the financial performance for the quarter.
Thanks, Taco. Good morning to all. So, as Taco has mentioned, that on the standalone performance, the turnover has been overall total income is slightly lower, but that is, while the revenue is okay, revenue has improved thanks, due to good performance on the instant coffee side and also on the coffee plantations. There has been some impact on the tea plantation, largely due to lower crop and lower sales. On the other income part, it is only due to receipt of the timing in the receipt of dividends from 8 o'clock coffee. Though YTD September, that is for 6 month period, we are ahead of the previous year in respect of dividends by about 3 crores. On the operating profit, as mentioned, India instant coffee has had a good quarter, despite whatever challenges we had in terms of logistics issues and availability of containers, etc. And on the consolidated performance, as mentioned, the overall consolidated profit before tax is higher by 22% and net profit by 27%. And 8 o'clock had a decent quarter in terms of better channel mix and overall cost management. And the standalone, of course, on the instant coffee side, we had a good quarter, though impacted by the tea performance. So with this, I hand over for questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Participants who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. The first question is from the line of Jayan Kanchi Mamania from Care PMS. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning and congratulations for the good set of numbers.
Thank you. Thanks, Jayan.
Looking at the financials on the standalone basis, the inventory is substantially higher. If you look at the September 20, which was 238 crores, and as on September 21, it is 323 crores. Can you tell us of this inventory, how much relates to our own plantation crop?
No, I'll tell you, the overall inventory increase is on account of, broadly, I would summarize as 2 reasons. One is, the plantations, we have the biological produce valuation, and in this year we are expecting a little better crop compared to last year. So there is obviously, that is one reason. Second reason is also the prices. Prices have gone up. So there is also that impact which will come in some of the biological produce valuation, which is based on the coffee board rates and all, right? On the instant coffee side, yes, due to some little bit of container issues and deferment of shipment, the inventory has gone up. So these are the 3 broad reasons.
How we value our own plantation crop, particularly coffee?
Coffee is on the fair valuation of the biological produce. See, what happens is coffee, there are two aspects. One is on the harvested produce, which is more or less, this new season harvest has not come. So whatever is balance remaining would be valued at at more or less on the cost side. And on the biological produce, we value at the fair market value, which is the coffee board rates. So that is as per the accounting applicable accounting standards.
Okay. Sir, can you tell us what is the difference in realization as the coffee prices have gone up as compared to corresponding quarter and in the previous quarter? How better we got the realization this quarter?
So, Jayant, things like this. So, the coffee price, the terminals, as you see, have moved up quite a bit. Okay. Having said that, see, the coffee crop that we sell now, okay, these are all the old season crop, which is of the previous year. Okay. So those prices have improved in relation to whatever we have been kind of seeing in the marketplace to some extent. Roughly, I would say 15-20 rupees a kg would have gone up depending on the crop. For example, if you look at broadly the Arabica side, that's where it is. The Robusta has not gone up so much, I would say, because it all depends on committed contracts and all that. But more, it will be correct to look at towards the end of the year when the new season also comes in. But these are all the old season crop, and of course, not to forget about pepper. Pepper also, as we move into prices, have moved up, but then those kind of the impacts or benefits of that will come in more in the Q4.
So you mean to say still in Q2 we haven't realized the increased coffee benefits?
Not to the full extent, as I mentioned, not to the full extent. To the extent of coffee, whatever is sold, which is of the old season crop, we have realized some benefit. But the new season crop is yet to come in, because that will be harvested and become available commercialization for sale will be only in Q4.
Okay. Sir, there is a work in progress of 46 crore in standalone financials. Can you throw some highlight on that?
Which is the line item you're mentioning?
46 crore work in progress, capex.
That is which I mentioned. No, the plantation crop. The biological produce. We are supposed to value the coffee on the bush.
Acha. So it's a capital asset in balance sheet.
It's an asset because we have to value on the basis of the growing as the growth happens on the coffee and pepper, we have to value as per the relevant accounting standards based on a percentage growth.
Okay. And the last question, the logistic and the shipping cost is gone up substantially. So to what extent we have to sacrifice our profit?
No, we are by and large. You see, the logistics cost is twofold. What we have done, the certain contracts would be where we have to the CIF contracts where we have to bear the freight cost. But those also, since we have also factored in this whole freight cost. If you see, the inflation impact has come over the last few months at a stretch. So we have also, wherever possible, we have factored in. And some of the contracts we have shifted to FOB, in the sense, where the buyer will pick up the freight cost by themselves. In which case, we are not impacted by the inflationary impact on ocean freight cost. That's how we have managed it.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Akhil Parekh from Elara Capital. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. My questions are around instant coffee. Would you be able to highlight how are the coffee realization for spray-dried coffee and freeze-dried coffee at this point of time?
Sorry, can you just repeat that question once again, Jen?
Yeah. The coffee realization, the realization of SDC and FDC coffee.
Yeah. So we don't typically disclose the exact numbers, but yes, I can tell you that the realizations have been definitely higher than the previous quarter, and for both SDC and FDC, and also the agglomeration.
Okay. Would you be able to highlight at least percentage-wise how much they have gone up on a YY basis? About 8 to 10%. Okay. Okay. And as previously highlighted in previous comment, you said that entire impact of higher prices has not been taken into and which will kind of been observed in fourth quarter of FY22. So should we expect some kind of inventory gains in the quarter?
Yeah, see, what we explained was that on the plantation side, because see, the plantation side, the new season crop will come into play, come into commercialization only in the Q4 of this current financial year. And depending on the prices at that time, we will be able to sell and get the gains. Okay, this is currently what we are selling is the whole season crop. We have, as I mentioned, we have realized some gains in line with the coffee prices. But those will be also kind of muted to the extent of the contracts already which we would have had.
Okay. So the coffee bean prices have moved up 30-40% up, right? On a YY basis, if I look at it, while for our finished product, the prices are up 8 to 10%. So should we expect another 15-20% of increase in coming two quarters?
We don't want to put a number to it. As I mentioned, no, see, this whole season, the plantation, if you really look at this, the whole season crop which we are selling now, and there's a new season crop which will probably get sold in Q4 and the following quarters. So whatever is the gains we realize will depend on the prices at the time when we sell the new season crop, which will be in Q4. Which will include, of course, the coffee and pepper as well.
And then, of course, it also depends on how the prices are at that point in time, right? So,
Got it.
All that.
Got it. But so we have been reading about the drought situation in Brazil and which is impacting the crop production, specifically on the Arabica side. How do you envisage, like in next few quarters or months, 3 quarters or a year, like how will the price trend continue to be on an upward range?
So it's like this, Akhil. I think what we have seen in terms of, and I've made this point in the past also, the clarity in terms of what the crop loss has been on account of overall drought and the frost that has happened is still a bit unclear. Okay, I mean, in terms of there are many messages that keep coming out from Brazil based on reports which are from third parties, and then you would also appreciate that there's not too much of travel which is actually happening to be able to really put a number around what is the total impact. Then this impact has to be factored with the demand that one would see in the markets. Yes, there has been opening up of coffee markets, so the coffee markets would possibly see some traction in terms of overall consumption going up. But that is again left to our imagination as to when and how much it will move up. The last bit is around the fact that a lot of the impact, a lot of what has happened has already, to a great extent, been factored in by most of the roasters. So if you see, and if I do believe that yes, the prices are substantially ahead of what they were same period last year. In my opinion, we have reached a point where these prices would possibly be plateauing and not, going up substantially. You may have that, 5 or 10 cents up and down, but I don't think it is going to go any further than this. I think that's the understanding that we definitely get from our side.
Sure. Couple of more questions before I get back in queue. Like higher prices of coffee, how does it impact our margins? And also, if the demand is elastic or inelastic, have you observed any kind of such situation where the prices have been on upward trend and consumers have kind of retracted back from the demand?
So it's like this, just to answer that, see, coffee being an essential commodity, we don't that elasticity works in our favor. That doesn't, because there will be lag effect in terms of inventories, but generally the prices, in the case of roasters, for example, some of the branded players will get passed down, and some of the plantation producers also get, it factors in. So it's a chain. when we sell to roasters, do the private labeling or whatever it is, and then sell to the supermarket, so that gets passed on in that sense. And so that is the point. So whatever gains and prices, only there's a lag effect because the terminal prices, then for example, the Indian coffee production is only for a couple of months. The harvest is between say October and say February or March. So then that gets sold in the subsequent year. So that the lag effect will be seen.
Okay. My question was on the demand side as well. Like, do we see that the demand gets slow in a rising price scenario?
No, we don't see that. That we don't see. As I mentioned, there's a lag effect. So people have the inventories, no. So obviously, for example, just to illustrate for you, when the ocean freight impact last few quarters happened, there has been delayed kind of placement of orders because people would like to see when this freight kind of eases, because that it will directly impact their cost of inventories and cost of their resupplies. So to that extent, we could see some lag in demand, lag in placement of orders, but overall it doesn't last long. The sense it comes back.
Sure. And so what percentage of instant coffee and coffee beans we sell it on a spot price basis or
on the instant coffee side you are asking?
Yeah, on the instant coffee as well as on the coffee bean side as well.
No, coffee bean side, as see, for example, since because of the harvesting is for a couple of months and then subsequently we sell, so the supplies will be for subsequent months. Suppose, for example, we may have contracts for supply in say July of next year, which will be the new season crop. So that will get factored in case of the terminals which are available for the future. Either it will be terminals to be open and fixed, or the terminals will be also be fixed. So that is the way it is. And instant coffee side is more or less normally instant coffee orders for say 3 to 4-5 months. So that will get priced on that basis. And we hold the inventories and all that. For a couple of months we'll hold inventories, and that's how it is. It's always a B2B business, so we have customer orders in hand most often, and then that's where it is. That's how it is done.
Okay. Like the pricing of instant coffee, like for example, if a client gives you a contract today and you supply 2 months down the line to him, the pricing is based on the 2 months down the line, or the pricing is when the contract is given by the client to you?
When the contract is given, we have a specific pricing agreed, no? So the pricing agreed will be considering when he wants to supply and what kind of coffee prices are there. Will be there. Either we have the stock in hand, in which case we will supply on that basis, on the replacement side of it. That's how it is. It will go.
Sure. And one last, if I may, the container issue has been sorted out, or is it still an ongoing issue at this point in time?
The container issue is not sorted out, no. It is just continuing. The only thing is the intensity is kind of, it will vary. For example, if you take Vietnam, the situation is still not back to normal. India is slightly better, so that's where it is, but it is not going to go away in a short while. What we are seeing is that so till now there is the Christmas rush and all that. So it will take a while for the container easing will take quite some time. That's what we are being told.
Got. I'll get back in case. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. One clarification I wanted to give for James' question. He was asking about capital work in progress, but that is more to do with the replanting costs which are there in the books, as well as some bit of a instant coffee, bit of agro expansion which we are doing in Teni.
Thank you. Reminder to the participants, to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Percy Pandaki from IIFL. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good morning. My first question is, can you give us an idea how much of sales happened from the Vietnam plant this quarter?
See, we don't want to give you a number, but specific number, but we have operating at 95% capacity. Yeah.
Okay. Because in the past you have given some idea in terms of $1 million, how much it has been, like $9 million or something like that. So some kind of...
It all depends. No, because I'll tell you, Percy, we don't want to put a number in the sense, because it all depends on, it's not good to look at a quarter on quarter because of the way the contracts come. Because certain quarters we have all these, what we manufacture while it is freeze-dried, we also have the blends which are different. For example, we have the Arabica blend or the decaf blend which are better priced.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of quantities, we are, pretty. We are pretty. If you can divide 5,000 by 4, you will get that.
Okay, understood. No, the only reason I was asking is that if I have this number, then I can derive what is the number for 8 o'clock. So that was the only purpose behind asking. So
you please do that, Percy.
Okay. Fair enough. Secondly, I just wanted to understand, coffee prices have gone up, terminal prices. So on the one hand, this will be beneficial for your plantation business. On the other hand, 8 o'clock sort of is a consumer of coffee. So input prices for 8 o'clock go up. And we really don't know how much of that will get passed through to the end consumer. So what is your view? I mean, when the coffee prices go up on a consolidated basis for a EBITDA margin or a absolute EBITDA, is this good for you or bad for you on a consolidated basis?
So we have both sides. So if you really look at the FMCG kind of play, like the branded business, though normally gets passed on over time. There's a lag effect. If you've probably seen the way tea happens or coffee happens. So that is where it is. On the plantation side is a clear benefit for us in terms of the higher prices. Instant coffee is again more akin to a branded kind of play. So with a lag effect, it gets passed on. So having said that, there are 3 levers broadly, which we are using. One is, of course, there is a coffee in stock inventories are there. 8 o'clock and all will be probably carrying a longer inventory in line with the roasters, what typically roasters have. Secondly, for our India business, for instant coffee business, we don't use our own production of coffee and we import coffees. But there again, we'll have a couple of months of inventories in hand. So all these options are available in terms of inventories and also the price increases, which will be reflective, of course, on the market conditions. Because 8 o'clock is not the market leader in that sense. There is a fair bit of competition is there. And even in the B2B side, we'll have to look at when we get orders or from our customers or private label players and all that. There is a market kind of position which we get to know, and then based on that the pricing will happen. But generally, what we have seen is in these kind of higher pricing scenarios, obviously the pricing, with the increased inflationary cost will get passed on. But there are also other levers which whether the inventories in hand or the kind of promotions and all that. And overall, of course, 8 o'clock does a typically good job in terms of overall cost management. All these factors will play.
Okay. Next question I have is on the plantation business volumes. So I understand that coffee prices are up and you will definitely get advantage going ahead in terms of the price per kilo for the plantation sales. But is there a sort of wherewithal to actually ramp up the volume sold also? Because if there is let's say there is a shortage of production in Brazil or something like that, and let's say if because of that other origin coffees sort of fill in that gap. So I'm just wondering that is that something that is likely to happen, or you believe that no, there is you don't have the wherewithal to sort of ramp up the sales volume because the plant can yield only so much and there is not much left in the inventory to ramp up the sales volume?
See, it's like this. It is difficult to ramp up the harvested produce. Yeah, in that sense, okay, because while we constantly do replanting, which will give us better productivity in terms of the coffee production per bush, it doesn't come that easily, that fast. So definitely there are constraints. If you ask me, suppose Brazil there's a shortfall where India can supply and all that, it is not possible to in that sense straight away. So that is the answer. But having said that, that is the position on coffee. But we also have 2 other things. One is on the coffee trading, where we have been trying to focus more on coffee trading because we have the Mansooning coffee unit in Mangalore, which does, and we buy a bit of of Arabica for our monsooning as well as for the value addition purpose. So that is some lever which we have been using in the last 2-3 years, which we have put. For example, recently you would have seen that we have made some efforts to look at the Orissa tribal coffees. So that we have, but then these are all kind of initial stages. So we are not wanting to commit too much on, confirm too much on that. But obviously we are looking at beyond our what we can produce in terms of looking at for example the coffees from Aircard, coffees from Orissa. So these are all newer initiatives which we have been focusing on for last 2-3 years. And not to forget pepper. Pepper, for example, is a growth area for us because we have able to, since we have a large timber wealth and we have planted vines. So those pepper production, we are quite bullish on terms of how the pepper production by itself, what we can produce can go up in the coming years.
Okay, sir. That's all from me. Thanks and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bharat Seth from Quest Investment. Please go ahead.
Hello, sorry sir, I joined little later, but would you like to give some color on this 8 o'clock business? One is, how it is doing in USA, and what are the strategy to, geographic expansion?
See, geography expansion, we are not having any such. For example, we are now e-commerce marketing of 8 o'clock is happening introduced in India, so that is there. But if you really look at whether 8 o'clock is moved across to some other geographies and all, we are not able to comment at this stage.
Okay.
So that is it. But 8 o'clock otherwise is fairly decent, robust performance. And we are investing behind the brand, and we are also there's a good pipeline of products. So all these augurs well for 8 o'clock.
This whatever launch we have done in India, that we import from the US or we manufacture?
Yes, we import from US.
Okay, so is there any strategy that going ahead, to produce those blends over here?
No, we don't have such plans.
Okay, so it will remain only a trading business in India.
Correct. It's a brand within the group, so it's like.
And then the produce that comes, the coffee that comes in it is actually something that is specifically from a specific location and packed in the US.
Yeah, it uses the superior Arabica from LATAM. Yeah.
Okay, and so this is currently we are in US and only.
It comes to India.
Yeah, it is. 8 o'clock is a brand which plays in US only.
Okay, sir, and are we also have we launched a port business also in India, or only it's for product for the self?
Sorry,
we couldn't get the question, Bharat.
In US we have also port business, correct?
No, not port.
No. We don't.
It's only we have K-Cups.
Yeah, we have the bags business, which is the primary one, and we have the the bit of private label as well as the K-Cups.
Okay. So this K-Cup have we launched in India also?
No, we are not yet.
So it is only a bag at this moment.
Yeah, yes.
And when we plan to launch this K-Cup?
No idea. No, we are not able to comment on that. I think the marketing side is looked after well by Tata Consumer, so maybe you probably can raise it at there.
Okay, so whether e-com or through retail or also will be, and also we have launched our own brand also in India. Is that fair? And in South India?
See, we have got two coffee brands. One is Tata Coffee Grand, which we pack and sell to Tata Consumer for onward marketing, sales and marketing. We also got the brand called Sonex, which is our select premium Arabica, single estate Arabicas, which are again marketed through the Tata Consumer Network. Both these brands are available widely. Tata Coffee Grand is widely available and they are also heavily present on media. And Sonex is a specialty Arabica, which is again sold both through e-com as well as on the shelves.
Okay. And sir, do we have any plan for the capacity addition of instant coffee?
We are not right now. We are not able to comment on that. We continuously evaluate because just to mention, we are saturated in terms of capacities both in India and Vietnam. So we are evaluating the right opportunities and possibly at the right time we may get in. We may try for an expansion. But at this point, we are not able to comment on that.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants who wishes to ask a question may press star and one. The next question is from the line of Harsh Sheth from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning, team, and thanks for the opportunity. And congratulations on strong set of numbers, despite the multiple headwinds. So firstly, if you could, help us decode the performance of 8 o'clock. I mean, despite the inflationary trends and against, what major global coffee players have been reporting, we have rather delivered a strong set of numbers. So what helped us achieve this? Is it largely because of low-cost inventory, or is there a structural change in the product mix?
There are multiple reasons. One is, of course, on the channel mix. See, they have the bags volume, bags plus K-Cups and private label. So the channel mix between these players has helped. And secondly, of course, overall cost management. Not to mention only about the coffee greens. There are also other overall in terms of costs. They have managed it well.
Understood. And how is the demand shaping up in US now as the economy has fully opened up?
Yes, I think. Yeah. Demand is good. We are not having any issues. The only thing is, last year, of course, COVID time, there was more of pantry filling and all that, but that has got normalized over the last two or three quarters.
And e-commerce sales of online is also picked up by a large margin actually. So it looks quite positive.
Understood. And sir, now adding on to the Brazilian views, the Colombian coffee suppliers have also defaulted on deliveries, and EOC, I believe, imports from Colombia too. So, though we have a hedging mechanism in place, would that work against us now as we may be starved of supplies and forced to buy spot prices? So can you throw some light on this situation prevailing currently and what can be expected going ahead?
No, so as I mentioned earlier, I think it was to Akhil in the past that most of the reduced inventory, reduced crops because of whatever weather events have taken place. I think most of them has already been factored in by the roasters. In my opinion, and this is my opinion, that we have actually reached a kind of a plateau. You may have, as I mentioned, a 5-10 cents up and down that may take place on certain events per se. But I think we are very much where we should be as far as coffee prices are concerned. And this is both for Arabica, more for Arabica rather than sorry.
No, I just want to mention there is no question of starving of supplies and all. They are they have a good supply chain planning, so we don't see any of those risks coming on.
Oh, understood. And sir, on instant coffee side, I mean, despite such a sharp inflation, the order bookings have been pretty robust for instant coffee business, as you have also mentioned in your presentation. So we just wanted to understand what's driving this demand, and also understand that we work on cost plus basis now, but with Brazilian suppliers likely to be affected and subsequent sharp recovery in demand. Is there a scope for margin expansion here in the instant coffee business?
We don't see margin expansion per se. So what is happening is like this. We are having, while we are saying, so in India, for example, you have the spray, aglo, and freeze. Okay.
Right.
Aglo to some extent has been impacted because of the African situation in Africa, where there has been a slowdown in demand and all that. But other geographies are robust because we export to more than 35 odd countries, and other geographies we are finding are quite stable. So we are not, the margin expansion per se, we are not wanting to comment, but having said that, there is also the different blends are there in this. So we have, for example, Vietnam, we do have a lot of, quite a bit of blends working on, on Arabica or decaf. So these are the premium blends which we work and which we co-generate with the customers. So those are the pockets for us where we see a fair bit of potential, and that is there even in India. For example, we do a lot of SKUs for which demand has got impacted due to this container freight as well as the current situation. Largely, because of this, a disproportionate increase in freight cost, there has been some impact. Some of the smaller players are not able to absorb these kind of increases. That's what we are finding. So that obviously situation should get eased.
Understood. And so you did mention about you are working on developing some premium blends in instant coffee segment. So just wanted to understand how does current product pipeline look like, and have you secured any new clients here?
No, we have not secured new clients. You're asking factories?
The new clients for our instant coffee, right? So we have been working on some blends.
Yes. Yeah, so it's like this. I mean, for us, and I think I've made this point in the past also. For us, NPD has been something which has been extremely important and from the beginning, but it has become even more important once the pandemic actually came in. And some of our successes that have come in the past, at least in the last 1.5 years, have been our consistency in developing new products, which include not just the decaf, but different origin based coffees, etc. So we have a very robust NPD process in place, which we hope to be utilizing consistently for being able to deliver the kind of results that we've been able to do. So for us, NPD is a way of life, and we do believe that this is one thing that we would be will be useful for sustaining growth. So we have a fair number of products in the pipeline.
So just wanted to understand, so how is the response being, and is it, are we marketing mostly to our existing clients and trying to milk more from them, or is it we are planning to add some new clients, and what geographies we would be specifically targeting into?
It's a mix of both, Harsh, because we do find that the existing customers, for example, they all, at least during the peak of COVID, they also had the same kind of issues that we had, right? To be able to draw people in for, say, for example, a coffee that has got nutritional properties along with it, right? So can you develop something along with our customers? We've been able to do that for them. Or a new customer altogether in a different geography altogether, entering certain parts of the Middle East, for example, or even getting into parts of Southeast Asia where we have not been present in the past. So it's been a mix of all these things, and it's been working with both existing customers and looking at new customers. I think what is important is that we have in our repository a fair number of new products, which has also given us that to be able to give a new product and to be able to commercialize it takes anything between 6 to 9 months. We will be able to cut that substantially, having this repository available with us.
Understood. So that was very helpful. And sir, on Vietnam front, while sourcing of coffee may not be a problem, as I understand, I believe we faced issue in dispatches, with regards to container availability and all. So just wanted to understand what's communication now that supply hasn't taken place, due to. So do we stand to lose customers as they may have to fulfill their demand, any which ways?
No, not at all. In fact, what we've also been able to do is actually work very proactively with our existing customers to be able to advance sales to them, because it also helps in a case where in a situation where freight costs continue to rise. We've been able to take advantage of that by sending more quantities in advance. So we find that we don't have an issue with the customers not being serviced. In fact, I think it's the other way around. That's a fact actually.
Oh, understood, sir. And lastly, on plantations, given the excessive rains in Karnataka and surrounding regions, and like we've seen the news, do we expect a significant drop in output for current season?
No. The crop this year is actually going to be, at least for for us, pretty much a good crop, and very much on the expected lines that we have been maintaining for the year. So we do not see any pressure on crop, at least in Tata Coffee.
All right. And so lastly, one final question, if I may squeeze in, on this RODTEP scheme. So I think, significant allocation has been made to the plantation exports. So could you, please comment on that? How could that benefit us?
Yeah, it will benefit us. The only thing is, I just wanting to mention, MEIS scheme, we had the benefit both for our plantation producers, green beans, as well as the instant coffee. Now the RODTEP scheme so far, that while we are getting the benefit for plantation production, that is the green bean, the coffee beans. We have that the extension of that benefit for the instant coffee produced in EOUs has not been done so far, and that the government committee is examining when that could be extended. So to that extent, we are awaiting that communication.
Understood, sir. Thanks for detailed responses. So congratulations once again, and best wishes for the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kashyap Javeri from MK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Hello.
You may have to speak up.
You're not audible, Kashyap.
Mr. Zaveri, we cannot hear you.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. I have just one question. In our instant coffee business, I understand that for India, Russia is a big trading partner, and we have seen COVID cases rising substantially over there. In your press release also, you have mentioned about the fact that when out of home was sort of not doing great, at home consumption actually took care of a fairly large part of the growth. But particularly in Russia, are we facing any issues in terms of subdued demand because of the rising cases?
No, we did in the past, but I think at least in this last quarter we've been quite okay. We didn't find that kind of an impact. No.
And same goes for UK and Europe also, where cases are rising.
No, so in fact UK and Europe is actually opening up much faster than. Yeah, but for us, we are not really doing much into UK, but definitely they've actually opened up far more. Europe, yes, definitely.
Okay, sure. That's it from my side, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kunal Bhatia from Dalal & Broacha. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. And thanks for the detailed responses you have given so far. Sir, just wanted to understand your sense on the margin trajectory going forward, because on one hand there are a lot of moving parts, because you did mention that there is some amount of inventory that we have with us. Secondly, the current harvest would be coming in we would be selling that in the Q4. So how does one look at the margin trajectory going forward? So from here on, do we still see further improvement, or there could be some dip? I just wanted to understand from the gross margin as well as the EBITDA margin perspective.
So it's like this. On the plantation side, as I mentioned, it will depend more on the terminals and the movement, which we are not able to forecast. In a sense, it will be quite difficult to put a number to it. But generally, I can tell you that what we have sold in the past is the whole season crop. The new season crop would depend on what terminals are there at the time when we commercialize and sell. So obviously, when we are looking at the current prices, so margins could be better. Could be better. We are not making a statement of overlooking statement in the sense, so it could be better. Right. On the instant coffee side, again, there's always a lag, because it would depend on a couple of factors. One is on the freight, which has to get normalized, because that is a source point for the buyers in that sense. And normally, depending on the terminals and on the coffee prices, these instant coffees, normally the pricing sort of, with a lag, it gets passed on. So that's where it is. So I won't, we're not able to comment too much on the instant coffee margins, because primarily it will depend on a couple of factors like this.
Okay. So So to conclude, meaning the way things are at this point in time, the trajectory could be positive. Is that a right assumption?
Positive for one side of the business, plantations would be definitely, would be there. Instant coffee, you're not able to put too much, you're not able to kind of comment on that because of there are moving parts, as you also mentioned about.
Very many moving parts, which include, coal prices, steel prices, tin prices. We still haven't seen the end of the freight increases. So, we'd be a little circumspect in terms of, making a, comment on the margins on IC going forward.
Okay. And sir, in terms of if you're talking about freight, which seems to be the major concern, how has been the movement on a month-on-month basis? Have you seen some kind of moderation there, or still those are on an increasing side for you?
No, what we are seeing is the increase what we found, for example, in the last 2 months, they are sort of the same, percentage of increase is not there, so slightly it looks little subdued as of now.
Yeah.
But there are...
You have to remember that this is against a massive increase which has happened over, the last 1 year.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
And especially our Vietnam operations have been hit by this increased rate. Hopefully, more, because, when they export to Europe, customers and all that. But hopefully with that, if the situation gets corrected, we could see, some uptick in the margins. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much for your response. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shreyansh Jain from Quest Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes, Mrs. Shreyansh.
Hello. So can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
We can. A little, not so well audible, but it's okay.
So just had some clarifications. In the plantations business, so we've done about 79 crores versus 96 crores last year. So just can you give us a breakup in terms of domestic as well as exports?
No, here, see, in the plantations, most of it will be exports. So I'll tell you the drop. If you're saying the drop, the reason for the drop is majorly on account of tea, where we have sold lesser quantities and also the prices are not as good as what was the last year. But the bulk of it will be exports only.
So the drop is largely attributable to the global issues that are...
Domestic tea operations.
Hello?
Yeah, to the domestic tea operations.
Okay. And sir, second is just to understand the inventory bit again. So if I look at your note number 6, so can you help me understand that, because I seem to be getting lost there. Changes in inventory is about 35 odd crores, and there is a change in fair value of about negative 33 crores, so which gives us about 1.67 crores, which comes on the face of the P&L. So can you help me understand that?
On the change in inventories.
Yes, sir. Note number 6.
So this is an increase. No, the change in fair value of biological assets, still harvest, is the increase, because that is largely due to 2 reasons. One is on the prices side, and the second is also on the crop.
Right. But sir, if you look at the standalone, the change in inventory is 22 crores versus change in fair value is negative 33. So just trying to wrap my head around those figures on the top, 22 crores and 35 crores versus 33, 30.
No, see, if you look at the quarter, for example, you can see 33 crores minus 22, 11 crores you can see negative.
Right.
That's the way to look at it.
Okay, so what I'm trying to understand is there's an increase in the value of the crop. Is that?
Yeah, correct. Because that we are valuing the biological produce, and then the prices of coffee has also gone up, which gets
in the first quarter you do not value any biological produce.
Okay. So when do you do that normally? Q2, Q3?
We start from Q2. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That helps. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Richard D'Souza from SBI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity. I just wanted to ask, on the plantation side, when you said most of it is in exports, can you highlight which markets are this? Hello?
Ladies and gentlemen, the line of the management got disconnected. Please stay connected while we reconnect them. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for patiently holding the lines. The management is reconnected. Thank you, and over to you.
Sorry, Mr. Richard, we missed your question.
Yeah, that's fine. Just wanted to understand, sir, in plantation coffee, you said that most of it is exports. Can you highlight which market, which geographies?
So you're talking about plantation coffee. Coffees are typically Europe, a lot of Middle East, right? And yes, and some part of it, of course, goes into some niche customers, into the maybe Southeast Asia, a very small quantity.
Okay. And generally, what kind of quantities do you do in your plantation?
We do approximately 8,000 tons of coffee. That is about 1,800 to 2,000 tons of Arabica, and 5,800 to 6,000 tons of Robusta.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Yeah. The second is, for the instant coffee which you process in India, where do you source the beans from?
We import from African origins. We import from Vietnam. So these, whenever Robusta is grown, we use, and if there is a requirement of Arabica, we import from Brazil or some of those countries. Yeah, Latin countries.
Okay. And, if I may just ask, what would be the mix between agro and spray dry in India?
No, so
spray and then we convert to agro.
Agro, yes. So that's how it is thing. So it's a process which is there. So just to be clear about, we produce about 2,500 tons of freeze. The rest is spray and agro put together.
Right. We have around 9,000 tons of capacity in India. Of that, 2,000 tons is freeze. The balance is split between spray and agro.
Okay. And one last thing, for Vietnam, where do we source from?
Vietnam we source majorly from locally. Vietnam is the largest producer of Robusta. So we require whatever Robusta is there, we source. And we also import some parts from Africa and Arabica if we require, we import from Brazil and all this.
Okay. Now, what we understand is that Vietnam gives a lot of subsidies or tax benefits to manufacturing units there. So do we claim those tax benefits, or is it because...
We have the tax benefit that we have got the tax benefit for 3 to 5 years. That there is there's a tax holiday for some years and then a lower tax. So those we are enjoying.
Okay, sir. And one last thing, for 8 o'clock, sir, where do we source from?
That is primarily from Latin countries, and basically Arabic.
Some Ethiopian, but mostly Latin.
Yeah. Okay. They are using only primarily, Arabica blends, Arabica coffees. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks for sharing that.
Thanks.
That's it.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jayant Kangji Mamania from Care PMS. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Sir, you said this season we have a very good crop of coffee and pepper. So last year we had a crop of, I think, 7,800 tons for coffee and around 800 tons for pepper. So what is the estimate for the current year? What kind of growth we are expecting?
No. So I mentioned not very good. We got a good crop. So let's assume that the crop would be around the same numbers that we achieved last year, definitely for coffee. And for pepper, we do see some increase happening over last year's crop.
Okay. Sir, we had a pilot project on avocado growing and also on the natural honey. So can you throw some light on that about its commercialization?
Yeah. So we've actually commercialized a very small quantity, which is so as you're aware, avocado requires anything between 3 to 4 years for it to commercially start yielding. However, the earliest pilot plants that we had, area that we had actually put up has already come up for commercial production. It's a very small area, but that's already been commercialized and already been sold this year. It's a very small area, so small quantities that we have done. So we do see this substantially scaling up going into next year and year after next. So the idea is to we continue to plant fairly large areas every year. So we have a ramp up which by I think around by 2025 we should be able to complete the entire area that we are commercially looking at.
So what would be that area, if you give ballpark figure?
Close to about 150, 160 hectares.
Okay. So how much the 1 hectare gives production?
So let's wait and see. I would not want to see. These are plants which have of a very particular variety called Haas. And that Haas variety has got different yield levels in different locations in terms of the number of fruits that you actually get per tree. So in certain locations it goes up to almost 20-25 kilos per tree. So we have to see what it actually does on a slightly larger scale in India, because this variety is not grown previously commercially in India. So let's wait for another year before we start commenting on the exact yields for that, like the way we do for pepper, etc.
And so what about honey?
So honey, we have started the project. We have already started distilling, and we are internally consuming the entire honey that we are getting at the moment. And the idea is to substantially increase the quantum of this is obviously domestic honey production, so you'll have boxes which are going to be there. So substantially increase the number of boxes in the next 3 to 4 years, which includes a phased increase happening. So the overall experience that we have had so far is quite positive. We do feel that this could also substantially be higher as we move year on year.
Okay. Sir, in case of Sonnet, we have launched many variants. I think around 30 plus variants. And
yes.
As you said, we have started selling offline also. Is it right?
No, we are not selling offline.
We are only selling online.
Okay. Sir, can you give us some idea about how is the sales?
Yeah, the sales have been pretty good. In fact, the entire and this obviously is being sold and marketed, branded, and sold by TCPL. And the sales have been pretty robust. In fact, that's the reason why we have increased the number of variants of sonnets. But I think every year you'll have a different set of variants, because these are very specific to a specific location and based on certain tastes and certain profiles which we pick up, and that is then tasted by a master taster. He decides or she decides what are the kind of coffees that we would be using this for. Like, for example, medium roast, dark roast, or will it be suitable for a French press or a filter. So every year you'll find the numbers varying in terms of the number of variants, but we see a good traction, good interest, good demand that is coming through. I think TCPL is doing an excellent job marketing.
And how is the initial response for 8 o'clock launch in India?
I think it's been quite positive. I think more information in terms of the exact numbers, maybe TCPL would be able to give you a better idea about it. But it looks quite promising.
Okay. Thanks a lot. That's all. All the best.
Thanks, Jayant.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you everyone for joining us, and we'd like to wish you all the very best, and we hope to see you in the next call. Thank you.
Thank you very much.